what you might call culturally Jewish, meaning that I was born Jewish, and while I don't really have the strongest religious convictions, I do observe the holidays with family, and Judaism has probably shaped my life in ways I don't fully comprehend. And one of the more intensive holiday traditions occurs over Passover. But before I go any further, be sure to hit that subscribe button for more reviews, deep dives, and food-related shenanigans. For those who don't know, Passover celebrates the Israelites' exodus from bondage in Egypt. According to biblical lore, after Moses told Pharaoh,
"Let my people go,"
and Pharaoh wouldn't budge, God inflicted 10 plagues on the Egyptians, culminating in the death of the firstborn. And supposedly, God had the Israelites mark their homes with lamb's blood so he'd pass over them, hence the name. Of course, the main Passover tradition that most are familiar with originated after the Israelites were finally granted their freedom. In their haste to escape Egypt, the Israelites didn't have time to let their bread rise, so for the 8 days of Passover, observant Jews refrained from having bread and bread-like products, and instead they'll have matzo, or unleavened bread. Now, I won't pretend like I stick to it most years, if ever. Matzo actually wreaks havoc on my stomach, and I'm not alone. But through hook or crook, I usually end up having at least some Passover foods. And there's a whole plethora of cookies, cakes, cereal, candy, and everything you could possibly imagine that's officially sanctioned for Passover, but honestly, I never found most of it all that edible. Substituting leavening agents, or chametz, for matzah meal gives most foods a gritty, nasty consistency. But there's a few exceptions, and I'd like to share some of those with you today. One of my favorite treats was always fried matzah, which combines matzah with eggs, sometimes onions, and some seasoning, all fried up in a pan. Some prefer it like scrambled eggs, while others enjoy it as one solid piece, similar to a pancake. And I should point out that some Jews abstain from eating fried matzah for religious reasons, since the matzah comes in contact with water. There's also matzah ball soup, pairing chicken soup with a special kind of dumpling made of matzah meal, eggs, water, and some kind of fat. And matzah ball soup is actually pretty popular throughout the year, not just Passover. Any respectable Jewish jelly like Katz's in New York City, Cantor's in LA, or Harold's in Edison, New Jersey should have a good version of this soup year-round. If you're keeping Passover and can't stand the thought of giving up your morning cereal, you could do a lot worse than Crispy-O's, especially the cocoa version. Essentially, like the name implies, it's a Passover version of Cheerios. And then there's Tam Tams from Manischewitz, which is a brand you might recognize if you've ever invited a Jewish person over for dinner and asked them to bring wine. Tam Tams are a six-sided cracker with a similar base as egg matzah. Like most anything Passover related, it's more gritty and less substantial than normal crackers, but if you're keeping Passover, it's a great substitute for Ritz crackers or wheat thins or anything of the sort. Finally, I got something extra special for this year's Passover. A question: what improves just about anything, other than bacon, of course? Chocolate. And plain matzah might taste like cardboard, but coat it in chocolate and it becomes a delectable treat. I picked up this dark chocolate variety from Streitz, another storied Jewish brand with roots stretching back nearly a century, and this almost makes it worth keeping Passover. Almost. Now, just to reiterate, I wouldn't choose the last 3 foods over non-Passover fare, but if you're keeping the holiday, and I'm not, or if you're curious about another culture's cuisine, these are all decent choices. As always, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I hope everyone had or is having a great Easter and a happy Passover.